The holiday season brings so much joy to so many people, but unfortunately, sometimes this time of year can mean more car accidents. And joining me now is attorney Jim Desmond with Desmond Law Office. Jim, welcome back into the show.
Michael, thank you. It's always good to be here.
Absolutely. Good to see you again. So for the folks at home that are not familiar with Desmond Law, will you give a little bit of background on yourself and kind of the way maybe that you're different than some of the other firms?
All I do is car wrecks. I've been doing them for, oh my God, I've been practicing law too long, 20 plus years. People can reach me directly on my cell phone. I pick on the big firms because it's just me. And part of the reason I do that is because of the fact that I was with one of them years ago, one of the big TV advertisers, and I kind of saw, to me, it's a very factory-oriented type of situation, and I don't like that. I want to be with my clients. I want to hear from them. I want to know what they're saying. And how I do that is I use my cell phone. And you would think, I still am amazed other attorneys are not picking this up more, because it's like, I obviously can't copyright it. But it's,
well, maybe they don't want to be bothered. See, and that's the thing that you put. No, but you put yourself out. That's a benefit of working with you, right?
Yeah, but I don't even say put myself out. Clients are not bothering. They're very good. They're very respectful to me. Yeah. And we've learned to deal with it through everything from text on down. And you know, and it's like I said, I've had a lot of good clients I save over the years, and no matter how it is, we get hold of each other. So no, they're never a bother.
So as I talked about earlier, the holiday season, whether it's the colder weather, whether it's drinking and driving, the list goes on of reasons that car accidents typically go up this time of year. Talk about what people need to know about, you know, as they hit the roads this holiday season, as they're traveling to see family, some things that they need to know prior to, and then we'll get into what happens after an accident.
Well, I mean, the thing about a car wreck is that, yes, first of all, the holiday season kicks in, the bad weather kicks in, it's all in the uptick. I was just watching your news while I was waiting for this, and, you know, again, there was a bad, accident they were talking about, and it involved a death. This is the problem with the law, is that you've got to protect yourself ahead of time, okay? Everybody thinks the other guy hit me, he's responsible for my accident, my damages. It's not the case. There's no guarantee in the Kentucky law that the other gentleman or female has enough insurance to cover your medical bills, your car, whatever it might be. We have about a third of our Kentucky drivers are uninsured. So I always say again, and it sounds counterintuitive, but on your own policy, you need uninsured and underinsured coverage, okay, preferably about $100,000 per person. The person has no insurance, your company steps up and acts like they insure them. Underinsured, they don't have enough. I can come against that policy to recover more down the road, your own policy. Collision coverage helps with the car, obviously, because if you get hit by somebody who has no insurance, how do you get your car fixed? And unfortunately, a lot of my clients that happens to. And then rental car coverage I used to not believe in, but now I'm getting to the point that I'm saying, okay, maybe it is time to do it. So,
you know, something you just said that just like glaringly stuck out to me. A third of drivers in Kentuckiana.
Yeah, that's what they estimate.
That's the estimate. That is a staggering number.
Well, and again, I'm going to go back to something. This is why I get frustrated with the big firms, because, okay, back to I was commenting on your news story, you know, when an accident happens, you don't know the situation. I would just travel a couple hours down to another small city, I won't say where, to sign up a lady that unfortunately lost a couple of fingers in an accident. Mm-hmm. And the issue is, you know, who's the other driver? Who was driving? Why did they have the car? You know, who is insured by? There's all these issues, and you need to be able to get a hold of that right off the bat. Because again, I deal with a lot of cases where I'm saying, you know, unfortunately, my clients are great. They didn't do anything wrong, and they're hit by somebody who has no insurance. And as an attorney, I'm saying, yes, you could sue that person and try to get a judgment, but obviously, if I get a judgment against someone who for $100,000 and they have no insurance, there's no bank accounts to go against, there's no assets, it's not worth anything. It's a big waste of time and money, unfortunately.
So you need to be prepared. These are a couple of tips. It's, again, underinsured or uninsured. Both of those are policies that you need to look into with your insurance company.
And if people ever want to, give me a call ahead of time. Before
that's the thing you've talked about. You will walk them through it now. Before, you know, like you said, God forbid something does happen, you'll help them before and, of course, after. So let's talk about after for a second. In the moment that somebody is in a car accident, unfortunately, a lot of us have been there, you kind of panic. I think you're shaking, you're upset, you want to call somebody, you want to call 911 if it's bad enough. You know, the list goes on. Talk about in those first moments after an accident, what should people do?
If you're feeling bad, I mean, I'm going to say ambulance to the emergency room any day of the week. Now, if you're at the point where you can kind of handle things, then I would say get out, take pictures of the car, the locations of the vehicle, the accident scene. Take a picture of the other person's driver's license. Take a picture of the other person's insurance card. Because what we're finding a lot of is that I mean, let's face it, since COVID hit, every business is suffering a little bit from a manpower shortage. And so I'm seeing police reports taking longer to get. And the problem is I can't do anything until I know who that other person is. So, and how do I find that out if it's all in the police report? So again, the more a client, I hate to do that to somebody, because I know, as you say, they're nervous about the situation, they don't know what to do. But the more they can kind of say, let me get as much information as possible, the better we can get going faster, and the better that first meeting goes. It's easier to move it.
So let's talk about that first meeting for a second. You know, one thing that I think you kind of pride yourself on, you've told me this before, is making sure you use everybody's time wisely. Everybody's time is so valuable to them. That's why you answer them when they call on your cell phone. That's why. So when they call, if somebody calls right now that maybe was in an accident this morning or yesterday or something, what can they expect? Can you kind of walk me through the process, some of the questions that you might ask them?
Well, on the first phone call is literally I'm going to take 10 or 15 minutes and we're going to go through and I'm going to give them advice. Okay, I'm a soft sell person. I'm not going to say you have to do this or you have to do that. I want to show them what they can do, because again, a lot of people are just interested in their vehicle. I talked to somebody today that it's not a case I would handle, but the car was damaged in the tornado down in Mayfield, and so we get 5 minutes of advice was fine. I don't mind doing that. If we get beyond that point, then they meet with me directly. We go through it a little bit more in detail as to what our options are and what's our fallback. Many times I'm saying bring in your own insurance, because I'm looking for that uninsured and underinsured coverage, because that's my worst case scenario. That's my fallback. I might tell them to text me the police report number, because if I can get the police report before even our initial meeting, I can get the ball going. I can see if the person's insured and such like that, so I can get them a copy. There's a lot of things that can be done.
But every situation is different, and you really listen to their story, their situation, and of course navigate it appropriately, I'm sure.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is every situation is different. I was thinking about something. I'm going to badmouth the big firms again, sorry. Okay. But, well, and it was funny because I just saw my commercial on the middle day. We all see all these personal injury attorneys during the day, right? Well, they all make it sound so simple, and just, oh, here, turn it over to me, and, I'm just going to get you a check. Car accidents are fact specific. That's the whole thing about law. Okay, in general, it's all fact specific. So again, like I went back to my former boss who's doing estate work, and he updated my will, and I thought, again, it's only going to take a couple minutes to do it, or a couple phone calls. We sat down for about 4 or 5 hours. That's what you want from a personal injury attorney, is someone who's going to say, let's go through it, because it's everything from, who was at fault, who's insured, how do we recover, how do we get your treatment paid for, what kind of treatment do you want? All these things that kind of go hand in hand. So that's why you want to talk to your attorney directly. And when you have the big firms just sitting here saying, okay, I'm going to talk to a paralegal for 50 minutes, and I get 10 minutes with my attorney, I just shake my head.
Well, and then also, let's face it, in a lot of these cases, these accidents, these people could be, there's a lot of money that could be owed to them. I mean, these are important meetings, and that's why you take the time to spend with them.
Yeah, you can't, as a personal injury attorney, you cannot leave money on the table.
Yeah,
that's your job.
It's your job on behalf of the client.
To recover from every source you can.
That's right. Well, very cool. Jim Desmond, thank you so much for being here. It's always good to see you, sir. Absolutely. Good information. AttorneyDesmond.com is the website. 502-609-7657 is his cell phone.